Good evening, all. This is Trader72. I hope you're well on this Tuesday evening. It's falling and it's getting darker here in London. Thanks for following my YouTube channel so far. Please subscribe and like. And this is the Evening Diary. So, welcome back to the second show of the day. I did one this morning on the pre-markets, and now we are well into the US market day of trading. So, let's have a quick look at what is going on with the market at the moment. I have just seen, as we speak now, the uptick on crude oil. It was down to $85 a barrel, on its way down to probably 80, and it's just literally picked up to 91.5. So it shows you the volatility that we're going through at the moment with the crude oil and the markets in all. They were actually quite nicely into the green, and it seems to have been retreating, including all my stocks actually in the process of it. But we'll come to that in a minute. But there's definitely a pullback going on at the moment, as you can see there from the situation there. $92 a barrel, suddenly 2% up. So something's definitely happened. We'll come back to you on that one if I can find out. So let's just go back to today's news. Obviously, all about the Middle East situation and crude oil. It looks like obviously there was a 13% plunge today on oil. Well, probably a little bit of a pickup now, but anyway. So that obviously down to the Iran conflict could de-escalate. It looks like potentially there's still volatility about the Strait of Hormuz, and obviously where the oil tankers are going. As I said, it's 20% of global oil flows through that strait, so there will be stuff going on there at the moment. Military is still ongoing. Iran has warned it could block regional oil exports if tension continues, so that possibly may have been why the crude oil is popped up in the last 5 minutes. Clearly, there's geopolitical issues. The protection of shipping, of course, is all important. And what are the Americans going to do about that if Iran starts ramping up the situation in the Strait of Hormuz? And that obviously could well happen. It hasn't quite happened yet, I don't think. So that could be interesting. In terms of the rest of it, markets are down. So you can see, let's have another quick look at the current market at the moment. We are looking at the markets just about holding on to its gains at the moment. 80 points up on the US 30. Nasdaq is up 45 points. So really minimally. Not much, I've got to be honest, has happened this afternoon. It was a very slow start, a bit like yesterday's really. I think people are pretty much hands off at the moment and just waiting to see what the outcome of this is going to happen. Trump obviously yesterday mentioned that they're well ahead of the situation in terms of the conflict, and that the military process is potentially ahead and coming to an end. Now, is that slightly overcooked, or is he spot on? That is the big question. Nobody really quite knows. We know that obviously has been a continuation of bombing from the Americans and the Israelis on Iraq. We know that Iran has also sent back a few missiles. But are they in submission? That is the question at the moment that on everybody's lips. But it certainly has affected the financial stocks today, because let's have a quick look at the current situation with my stocks at the moment. As you can see, I was well in the green on all my stocks, apart from obviously Adobe, and now we're well in the red. Actually, for the first time, my S&P Global has completely wiped out its gains from early this week and last week, down to now in the red. Now, for me, not a bad thing, because I actually want to buy more into S&P Global. And could this be my opportunity to maybe buy more at some stage? I did buy very well, if I'm honest, because it has bounced off the 435 mark in terms of support line. But at this moment, it looks like it's retreating back, which it didn't do much last week. So I'm not sure if maybe the financial sector has been hit even harder than what it has been. Visa's pulled back as well at 314 and pretty much in even Steven area there in terms of profit. Also, you'll see that Adobe's retreated back. It looks like there's some profit taking before the results on Thursday. Somebody was pushing the stock, it seems, quite a bit at 282. It was at 282 this morning. It's now at 274, so a $10 drop on the actual stock. Let's have a quick, 3% drop altogether. So I think it's purely down to profit taking, I think, before the results on Thursday. And I think some of the institutions not taking too many risks. Because obviously the price was at 260 at one stage, and the last few weeks went up to 280. So clearly something's going on there in terms of movement and selling at this moment. So it's left me in a little bit of a extra pounding. I'm having kind of 200 quid loss for the day on paper, so it's not massive, but obviously it would have been nice to stake around the 280 mark before the results. I will do a pre-result expectation tomorrow or possibly Thursday, see where we're at with that. So that's where we're at the moment. So yes, not a great day really altogether. I've kind of lost all my gains on S&P 500 global, quite a bit on Adobe, and Visa's retreated. So yeah, it's not been, even so the market's been in the green, it's not been great. But I think that's what tends to happen when you own financial stocks. I think if you look at all the financial stocks, it's quite down today. JP Morgan was down by quite a bit. Let's have a quick look at the current alarms that I normally tend to hold. No major alarms have gone off today apart from crude oil, which you can see is back at 89 again, so it's all over the place at the moment. There was a pullback on Moody's, which was a pre-warning for my S&P Global, as they're both in the same sector. Big global players in the credit rating, both retreated back to 455. And looking, let's have a look at JP Morgan and all the finance companies. Like Mastercard's also retreated back, so clearly it's a sector thing more than actually an individual stock thing. It's obviously something always to check for. Let's have a quick look at JP Morgan. Yeah, so not much really. I think this is more about the consumerism and people not spending, and oil prices going up hasn't helped the situation. And I think it's finally catching up with the finance sector there in that respect. Yeah, I was just trying to find if I could find JP Morgan there at the moment. But I can't seem to find it. So, but it's in my stock somewhere. Unless I'm missing out, please shout out if you see it. But I think I'm going mad. But anyway, at this moment, anyway, in time, there's definitely issues there with the market. So yeah, that's where we're at the moment, really. The big news tomorrow, and I did say I would touch on this very briefly tonight, is obviously the big CPI news tomorrow. That is going on. So I have a quick look at the calendar for you. Wednesday, here we go. CPI news. Now they're expecting 0.3, so slightly an uptick on CPI, obviously, which is the inflation gauge, and it's at 0.2% from previous month, so a little bit of an uptick there. I can't see a lot of movement on the back end of this really, unless something dramatic happens with that number. Year on year, we're looking at 2.4. Again, they're not expecting that to move that much. So yeah, even so, it's been obviously the main takeaway of the week. CPI, I can't see that being a major market mover. Obviously, will depend on what's going on with the Middle East as well. So you know, we'll see what comes out of that at the moment. But that's what to expect tomorrow. I can do probably a little bit of a, I won't be around tomorrow morning to do the morning show until about 1 o'clock. So if you guys want to hang in there and just see what comes out, that we could do that as well in terms of show. But yeah, pretty much where we are. In terms of the stocks I'm tracking, not much difference there. Pretty much the same as it was tonight. United Healthcare still down by 283. S&P Global now back to under 435 where I bought it. Visa back up at 315. Mastercard bouncing off. So yeah, again, some very wild moves at the moment. You know, crude oil just went up $3-4-5 a minute ago. Markets were going back into the red, and now it's popped back up again. It's impossible to keep up and see what's going on, but we do need to work out what's going to happen with the Middle East at some stage. But I think our mate Trump has certainly put the cats amongst the pigeon after his comment yesterday that we're well ahead in that war conflict with Iran. I think the markets were initially quite happy, but I don't know which direction it's going at the moment, if I'm really honest. So there we go. So I think tomorrow is CPI news. So obviously we'll cover that again tomorrow and see where the markets what direction that will go. I don't see that it's going to make a major difference at this moment. But we shall see. Obviously, if there's a bigger number and a stickier number than 0.3, then that could actually move the markets in either direction. All to do with the interest rates, of course, and what the Feds will do this year, whether they'll have 2 interest rates or more than 2. So there we go. I've done another show which will drop in the next few days, which is my Microsoft analysis. So be ready for that. That is a complete analysis of why I'm looking at that stock at this moment. I haven't moved on it yet, and of course you will know if I do. But for now, I'm just sitting on my hands to see where Microsoft might go. I'm hoping I could get them under $400 a share, which would give me a bigger discount margin of safety at this rate. But I've talked all about that in a show, so please do check it out when you have a minute. It's a special one-off analysis there for that stock specifically. So there we go. I'm going to leave you on these wise words. I don't think there's much more for me to cover. It's not exactly moved. We are all a bit tense at the moment. I think I can feel a slight tension at the moment with what is going on out there, and I think it's spooking the markets. And I think, as we all know, markets do not like uncertainty, and it certainly is an uncertain time. So on those words, I will leave you to it. Have a great evening. I am going to switch off in the next hour and have a bit of dinner and relax, because I think at the moment we may need it for the rest of the week. So it's Trader72. Please subscribe and like, and it's over and out for now.